Okay, sound is back. Apparently moving the laptop made the mic really angry. I don't know, guys. Okay. All right, so Andrea, if you are back, I saw your comment about Flynn on the last one. And yes, he loves to like lay on the, yeah, everything pretty much has to be lint rolled before it leaves. It was really bad when we had Remy because he was gray. So between the orange, the gray, and the black cat, like none of your clothes got out of this house without some sort of cat fur on it. So one of the questions that I was asking actually when I was muted was, how loud is the sewing machine? Because obviously I have the lav mic on. Okay, sweet. I just didn't know because like the mic is super close, obviously, with it being on like the where it's located. So that's good to know. Sometimes I just don't have stories to tell. Or they get repetitive. But yes, the cat loves to leave his signature fur everywhere. So if you see the long orange fur, that's Flynn. If you end up with a bag with little itty bitty short black hair, that's Dahlia. Although, oh yeah, she's over in her cat tree right now. She's definitely slowed down. She's, so we adopted her in 2015 and they estimated her age as 2. So she has officially passed into the double digit territory right now. And still pretty spry, but definitely slower than when we originally got her. So I don't know if you were here for the whole debacle last night, but I was doing directional prints. And I am a little bit lazy when it comes to cutting this pattern out. So technically you're supposed to cut all of this out before you sew it, like with the seam allowance and all that. But since these are just getting cut off of the small box bags, it's just easier for me to cut the small box bag cut into 2 cuts and then work from there. But it turns out that the directional prints actually need a little bit more room than that. So live and learn. I will be doing them different in the future. But it took me far more brain power than I probably had last night to figure it out. In part because I was so tired. Okay, that needs a little bit better stitch down here. Anyway, yeah, you're supposed to cut all of this out into this fish shape before you sew it. And part of what I do to save time is I just cut the rectangles. Because it's not going to save me any fabric to, well, it would save me like 2 or 3 inches, not much, to cut it out beforehand. This way, it's like I've got lots of seam allowance, and now we just go around and we cut the shape out instead. Oh yeah, I need to start the bobbin thread. Anyway, the directional prints were an absolute disaster in some ways because they did need a little bit extra seam allowance, because obviously when you sew them together, that takes extra room. And the crease on them was not lining up properly for where it should actually land on the finished case. So they'll be one of a kinds, and I will figure out directional prints for this later, or I might just not do it for a while. Directional prints might be in timeout for these, or at least strongly directional prints. What I mean by like directional prints are prints where it's like, if I put this on a bag, it only runs one direction, and it will look upside down in certain cases. This case doesn't really lend itself very well to directional prints as it is, because you will always have something that runs upside down, just based on how it's constructed. So the scatter prints and non-directional prints are definitely a lot friendlier to it and a lot easier for me to actually sew. It's the same case when I was making a lot of the wedge bags though too, is that I would actually have to end up fussy cutting like the large wedge bags. They couldn't just be kind of a side product of the large box bags because they were a different cut. And obviously the print runs different too. There we go. All right. I really, really, really like how this Fruits fabric is coming out for all of the products that are getting cut from it. Right, bobbin thread, bobbin thread, bobbin thread, bobbin thread. Start that winding here. Could definitely be a bit stingier with the interfacing next time though. Oops. Apparently my chair needs a little bit of oil. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Squeak, 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 squeak. There we go. That's better. All right. What did I do with my earbuds? Well, I will look for them in a minute. We're almost done all the dark top stitching, so after this I will run upstairs and grab the pinking shears. We'll trim and turn and top stitch them. And hopefully I can get through the white. What am I doing? Get through the white stitched eyeglass cases or glasses cases tonight too. That needs to be restitched. That was not well done. Corners on this sometimes are nuts. I don't know why I get them well done one time and not the other. Handmade. Weird. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm currently working on May glasses cases from Miss Freckles Designs. I actually just finished sewing all of them. So what I need to go get is I need to go get a pair of pinking shears so that I can trim the edge. We can turn them on the stream and then I can actually top stitch them before I have to swap out the black thread for white. So I will be back in 5 minutes-ish. They're just upstairs, so I will be extremely quick. All right, and back. And I actually remembered a turning tool for these, so I didn't have to get back up instantly. All right, so we've sewn around the fish stabilizer, and now I just go in and I actually trim down the excess fabric. I guess I could actually show it on camera a little bit better, you know, be friendly about it. Anyway, so this is why I don't do this before, is that then I'm not having to cut this twice, really 3-4 times, because you have to cut the stabilizer, the interfacing, so 2, and then the lining 3, and the exterior 4, so 4 times, yeah. So this way I only have to cut it twice, so it literally cuts the cut time in half, probably a bit more. All right. So now I could have gone around and just like trimmed up the edges here with a pair of scissors and notched it basically, but the pinking shears work just as well and are a bit faster too, just because, well, they're faster for me anyway, mentally, I guess. They save me the mental energy of having to figure out where to notch if I just go around, and honestly, it does give it a lot nicer finish when it's turned too. I'm going to turn this down just a bit, and you can be able to see this a little bit easier. We'll also see my face. So the thunderstorms that I thought were going to actually break have not. It's still looking pretty dark, but hopefully at this point they hold off till after. I heard rumors that the town that I live in was having fireworks, and then I saw rumors today that they weren't. They usually do, so I don't know what's happening exactly. If they are, I hope the storms hold off until they actually have the fireworks. Because there's nothing worse than having fireworks canceled for weather. Now, these scraps for now just kind of get chucked on my floor. It is more efficient for me to clean them all up in one fell swoop later. Is my floor a disaster? Yes. Is my floor a disaster even without the sewing scraps? Yes. I am not a generally tidy person, and it's like contained chaos might be a generous description. But yeah, once I'm actually done these glasses cases, I do need to do a tidy up of my floor. I need to actually pick up the stabilizer from cutting out these fish and figure out if there's any usable scraps. I use the stabilizer scraps behind like the magnetic snaps in the tote bags and stuff like that to add an extra layer so you're not pulling through fabric as soon as you open the snap one time sort of thing. Which is also partly why I like using these magnetic rivet snaps on, especially on these glasses cases, is like, yes, I could use the old-fashioned prong ones, but they wouldn't be stabilized properly because they'd go through the lining, just this, which there's no interfacing on or stabilize or anything, and it's just too thin. It would wear out really fast, probably within 2 or 3 uses. Although actually the bag that I made myself with that kind of setup lasted a bit longer than that. But besides the point, the magnetic rivet snaps will just should be longer lasting, because I like my products to have as long as longevity, or have as long of life as possible, obviously. Yeah, no, having kids and cats doesn't help. I was not tidy before the kids. I think that's the qualifier. The kids have just added an extra layer of defeat. It's like you tidy up, I'll tidy up while they're at childcare or whatever, and then they come in and it's like it didn't even happen. It's like they see everything put away and they're like, ooh, it's time to like I don't know, it makes it new and shiny, which is good. But oh my goodness. Actually, at the start of the last part of this live stream, I had to actually tidy up the desk that I was working on for the snap rivets because there was no way I was going to be able to do any of this work tonight if I hadn't. Okay, one kiddo is shuffling around. Let's see if anything happens or if they settle back down. Anyway, there's excess blue fabric. I wonder why. Oh, well. What was I going to say? Oh, I did work in the cutting room today since the kiddos were home. It's a little bit easier to drop tidying than it is to drop sewing. But I shuffled the big bolts of lining fabric around so it's easier to actually navigate the room, or at least it should be. And yeah, now I gotta get a shelf. My husband moved his office upstairs. There's like a little unused nook upstairs, and he doesn't do a lot of work from home. More now that in the role he's in, but it's not like a requirement as much as some folks. Anyway, so he's got a nook upstairs, but he's got space for a bookshelf, and we need to move his technical manuals up there because that would free up a lot of space in that cutting room that I could use. I don't know what I would even use it for right now, but I'd use it. I'd figure it out. Storage space is always good. I do have a bunch of textbooks and stuff like that still hanging around from when I was in university that I was kind of looking at that today, like, why do I still have these? I haven't even looked at them again since I did the degree. So, like, I've got Japanese textbooks. Those ones still make sense because we're going to work with the kids to actually teach them Japanese, or I will. There's a program in Calgary, actually, that they can start when they're 5, I think. So a couple more years. 2 or 3. So that'll be fun. But these textbooks are like university level, and they're good for me to like refresh every once in a while as well. All right. Ooh, this slubby fabric is giving these cutting shears a little bit of a run for their money, which probably means that it's time to take them in for a sharpening as well. I was using my shears last night, and I was like, these are rough, and I realized that I'd cut all of the stabilizer with them, so that's probably why. There's actually a sharpener across the road from us that in our old neighborhood, so I'll go down and drop them off maybe sometime this week. Considering that it usually only takes them a day. Actually, I should probably find out their schedule. Make sure they're not going on vacation or something. Or at least get them in before vacation. Anyway, it usually only takes them a day. Wonder if they can also sharpen pinking shears. I'll find out, I guess. I don't know. They've got like white noise machines in their room and stuff like that. Usually, like, as long as it's not, I don't know, they sleep pretty good. Usually, like, they wake themselves up more than external noises wake them up. There we go. And we're far enough away. We're farther away from them than we were 2 years ago now. So, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. They don't go off until quite late because, like, it's 10 o'clock. And as you can see out my window, it's still pretty dusky. Even with, like, it being cloud covered and everything like that, it's still pretty dusky here. So, I don't think they go off until for another hour to 2 hours either. All right, so now these are ready to turn. I've got actually a bamboo pointer to turn them with tonight to make this easier. And then what we'll do is I'll go through and we will finish off all the other ones that have already been turned. hope to heaven that I left enough space on some of these seams apparently. Yeah, we'll go through and we'll top stitch all the dark top stitching we need to do. And then we'll move on to doing the white ones hopefully tonight. What time is it? Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. I've got time. As long as the kiddos don't wake up, I've got time. So this is some capybara fabric with them at like Hot Springs. Ooh, it just popped right out. That's awesome. So I'll just fold this under and show you because it is adorable. So there we go. So this is one of the directional fabrics I was talking about. So in this case, so this portion is going to be upside down. There's no way to avoid that. But then the back portion is right side up and the fold over portion is right side up as well. So when I was talking about the seam is a little bit off, it's a little bit off on the top here, but still friggin' adorable. I love this print. I actually got more of this print in this color in May, so it will be around for a while. That looks pretty good, actually. I think we can just go straight to... we'll see if I need to turn the iron on or not. In a few minutes, it's actually sitting on the floor right beside me, so it'd be super easy to iron these out. I really like this bright blue. I don't know why I haven't been using it as an actual lining fabric for bags since I did the kits with it, but I guess it's been waiting to be used this year. Okay. So now normally what I would do is I would actually stitch all of these interiors with white thread and then just swap out to top stitch in black. Although I do know that like if there's any stitching that's going to show through, it's obviously going to be less obvious with the black on these darker fabrics. But I had black in the machine, so that's what we went with, and that's why all of these got stitched in black instead of white. And why we're just going to stick with it until I get the top stitching on them done, because I'm time efficient, a little bit lazy. Don't have to keep switching thread back and forth. That, oh my goodness, that is such a good summer print. So that's going to look really good. And it would go faster if I didn't have to like fold it up and show you all of them, but you're just going to have to put up with it because they're adorable. Obviously the sides will be folded and they'll be really cute. Little citrus fabric. I definitely did not leave them large enough turning space on some of these. I don't know who I was talking to about it, but I misplaced my 1x6 ruler. That might have just been on an actual recording the other day because I was working on the necessary clutch wallets. But anyway, but I see it. It's behind my sewing machine right now, along with the seam roller I was using. Must have knocked it off with like while I was sewing stuff. Eek. Hey, there we go. Did it. Now, if you're a beginner sewist or you want to make these, follow the pattern. Don't do as I do and cut corners, at least until you understand how they're constructed. It's always better to follow the pattern, and that's what I did the first few times myself even. And then, yeah, just makes life easier. Okay. That one sounds like the eldest is. Nope. All right. So I gotta head out. Yeah. But I'll try to come back on. And if I'm not, then I'll be on tomorrow night. So I hope you all have a good night. And I'll chat with you again soon. Bye.